Hello, 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 and welcome back to the Lifeboat Live with me, absolutely Arian. And I am so excited to have you here tonight because I have a very, very special guest who is waiting backstage right now, who is about to talk to us about his latest book, Who Can Find a Faithful Man? We have Dr. Eddie Connor, all the way from Detroit, Michigan, who is going to be sharing some amazing gems with us. Some of you may know him. He is quite accomplished young man with a very, very powerful testimony. If you might have seen him on shows like the Steve Harvey Show and a plethora of other shows, along with receiving accolades and awards from the White House. He is a really, really empowering young man who loves to empower others. And so please, without further ado, please welcome Dr. Eddie Connor to the Lifeboat Live. Receive him.
Hey, what an honor it is to be with you. There
Yes,
we go.
wonderful to see you again.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
was kind of telling you before, you are not really new to this. You are kind of true to this. You've been on a couple of in some way or shape or form. You did provide a very, very powerful life lesson years ago. And now I'm so honored to have you on the show live tonight to discuss, your new endeavors, such as your new book. But before we get into that, I would love for you to tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Absolutely. What an honor it is to share with you again. And it's amazing how you speak truth to power and speak life into the lives of individuals through the lifeboat. I am a son of the city of Detroit by way of Kingston, Jamaica.
Yep.
And yeah.
Yeah.
What Guan?
Yeah.
What Guan?
Yeah.
Yeah, and if we had the movie The Color Purple on the screen tonight, I'd tell you just like Sophia, all my life I had to fight. And so
Uh-huh.
fighting through a lot of storms and some stumbling blocks. 2023 marks 23 years of being cancer free. To not look like what I've been through and to
Yeah.
really turn all of that to find the can in cancer and empower people to overcome obstacles and really walk in their purpose. And so going to be talking about my 16th book tonight. I do some mentorship with young men, boys to books. Getting ready to launch a conference called the Access Identity Conference Saturday, August the 5th in Detroit.
That's
And
right.
so it's all about just empowering people through ideas, impact, and influence. And that's what I'm about. I'm a servant leader, rolling up my sleeves, empowering people to overcome obstacles and level up.
Amen. I love that because you know what, even the lifeboat is based and is standing on that, just empowering people through transparency, through testimony, through sharing
Mm-hmm.
life lessons that I and some of my guests have learned through their life journey. And the purpose is to allow people to know that either one, they're not alone, that they're not alone, that they are not the only person to go through this, and so that they find community, but also to encourage the person who may still be going through that there's a way out, right?
Absolutely.
And
Yep.
so yeah, and so I love that we have that in common in our missions to make the world a little bit of a better place.
Mm-hmm.
um, CJ says, appreciate you sharing your story, Dr. Connor. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay, so uh, so as we get into it, guys, I just before we get into it, I should say I would love for you to tell us who you are and where you're watching from, and also make sure you hit share if you're watching on Facebook Live, if you're watching on YouTube, if you're logged into your account. That's the only way that you'll be able to comment tonight, or that we'll be able to see your comments to your YouTube account. So with that said, what inspired you to write this latest book, the 16th book of your Biblia, of your
Biblia.
of your library of books? What inspired this?
Well, here's the thing. I stumbled up on this particular book. Actually did not have a desire to write at all. I didn't think I was going to write this book. Um, I actually have another one that's coming out, and I wrote that one. But I was doing a conversation at a men's conference a few months ago,
Hmm.
and I posted a video on social media about me sharing about this particular topic. Who can
Hmm.
find a faithful man? And the video went viral. I think it's got about 1.1 or so million views, and
Yes.
TikTok went crazy, Facebook went crazy, Instagram went crazy, and so I said, there's more to say about this particular topic. I'm not
Hmm.
just can be reduced to a minute and 12 seconds of a bite-sized message. I
Right.
want to share more about it, and so I really delved a little bit deeper, and I really wanted to analyze the whole aspect of the question: Are we preparing women for unprepared men?
Mm.
And, yeah, and it comes from the whole aspect how much we prognosticate and expostulate Proverbs 31 verse 10. Who
Hmm.
can find a virtuous woman?
Right.
But we fail to talk about Proverbs chapter 20 verse 6, which is who can find a faithful man.
Huh? Say it again.
Yeah, I'm more English than math, but 20 comes before 31. And
Right.
from podcasts to various platforms, from panels to podcasts, from churches to conferences, everybody talks about Proverbs 31,
Right.
incessantly. But we fail to look at Proverbs 20 verse 6, and so it begs the question: Can a man be faithful in his character, his commitment, his calling, and in his relationship with Christ? Because if he cannot do that, every other relationship, business, family, marital, dating, will always fail and falter.
Hmm.
And so I wanted to look at the whole aspect of emotional intelligence, vulnerability, accountability, and how that coalesces with masculinity and our personal identity. And so it's coming out June 15th. Matter of fact, let me show it.
Yes.
Cover looks amazing.
You can pre-order it
Yeah.
now on Amazon.
Pre-order it right now on Amazon. It already, which was a beautiful thing, it already went number one a few weeks ago on Amazon. Is not even out yet, but June 15th is coming out. And from cover to cover, it's going to empower you to recover.
Yeah.
For every man and also the women who love him. Yeah,
Okay, so yes, I'll be sure to get mine. Hopefully, autographed with a
for
nice.
sure.
Yeah, I'll be sure to send in that. I was trying to get it on Amazon, but it was giving me some issues, and maybe I don't know. There's some discrimination against some Canadians, but
I think it's Amazon.ca for the Canadians, if I'm not
oh, okay,
mistaken. But
okay, maybe I have to go to the right website. I don't know. So okay, so I understand that, like you said, we don't talk enough about, or maybe even hold the men in today's society as accountable as we do women, especially within the church, in order to, let's say, prepare for marriage, for relationship. We tend to find, I know within just my own life experience, among a lot of my female friends, that we have been taught how to, from very young, how to prepare to be a wife, whether it was intentional or not. We've learned to be responsible, how to take care of a home, how to be ladies, um, how to take care of ourselves physically, how to take care of ourselves mentally, how to take care and serve. But we don't see that emphasis on, or that training necessarily, or that accountability for the men that we have encountered. A lot of us have encountered, and so uh, I'm sure you've heard expressions like, um, the dating pool is full of urine, or or that people have said those kind of things. And
yeah.
of course, I don't necessarily believe that, but to an extent, people are struggling out here to just find suitable people to with just enough well, I should say with integrity to move forward with. It seems to be stumbling block after stumbling block. So how do we turn that around? Like, and I know, of course, a book like Who Can Find a Faithful Man is the first step, but what do you think? How do we turn it around as a community?
Yeah, I think if you think little of yourself, you'll do little for yourself. If you think much of yourself, you'll do much for yourself. And I think we have to go beyond the material self.
Mhm.
to look into the immaterial self, because oftentimes relationships have become transactional
Mhm.
to where now they are dysfunctional because they're not accountable. It's all about, I'm with a bae, I got a boo, I got a bag, I'm in Dubai. What can you buy me?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Flew out. Flew out.
Relationships. I think you have to come to the table as a waiter or waitress versus as a customer.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's good.
How can I serve versus how can I be served? And we have so many people with a handout to take rather than one to give.
Mhm.
And to a certain degree, when the money runs out, when all of the other stuff runs out, most people don't have anything to offer. No character, no
Mhm.
ingenuity, no goals, no dreams. Can you bring all of that to the table? Everybody want to talk about what do you bring to the table? Can you bring something to the table that the eye cannot see? Because oftentimes, when relationships go awry and askew, the lady says he only wanted me for my body. He
Mhm.
says she only wanted me for my money.
Mhm.
But that's all you showed. You can't expect a man not to have an appetite if all you bring to the table is meat.
Breast, leg, and
You can,
thighs.
come
KFC.
on, Popeyes. A man can't expect a woman to only want him to pay her bills if all he waves is his dollar bills.
That's right.
So when you come to the table with character, not just currency, carrots without character is chaotic. And
Mm.
so coming to the whole aspect and building a table, how about that? Together is really formidable, but you can't build anything if you don't have a foundation.
But what I do notice though is that you'll find a lot of young men who are very faithful in their careers, to their
Mm.
church, to their ministries, to all the other things, but seem to struggle in the some seem to struggle in the dating aspect, where the finding a wife, want to find a wife, but somehow are able to commit and be consistent in all the other areas of their life, but when it comes to relationship between man and woman, that's where there's a disconnect. So they have the ability to be consistent and to be faithful to one aspect of their life, but for some reason the struggle happens um, relationally. Um, why do
Yeah.
you think that is?
I think it's because of how we've been socialized. As men, we've become so adept at the tactical skills, knowing
Mm-hmm.
how to compete, knowing what it takes to have the grit and the grind and the hustle to get the job done. But
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to the soft skills of the emotional intelligence, of the vulnerability, of being able to communicate,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and communication is not waiting to talk. Listening is not waiting to talk. Being able to actually delve into the soft skills and the emotional intelligence aspect, that is the key ingredient. Those are some of the key ingredients for formidable and sustainable relationships. And when you have not been reared in that way, if you did not see good examples of it, we are in adulthood what we have experienced in childhood, is what Dr. Sigmund Freud says. So until we unlearn to relearn and
Mm-hmm.
reparent ourselves, Jesus and a therapist, sometimes dealing with trauma, dealing
Right.
with father wounds, mother wounds, seeing a lot of dysfunction, until we deal with all of that abscess and the upheaval of what it is that we have experienced, and take off the mask and say, listen, I'm not. It's not just about my muscles, my money, my Mercedes, my phone book for the ladies, my machismo, me beating my chest and say I'm the man. You do what I tell you to do.
Yeah.
No, but understanding that I can lead with love,
Mm-hmm.
and that's that whole aspect of loyalty. And if you have not seen loyalty, it's hard to be loyal
Wow.
unless you really unlearn some things that you've been through.
That that's fantastic. I love that. And yes, Ashley, you're right. This is a great conversation. Dr. Eddie has been dropping some gems so far. You already know he's got the alliterations ready. He's ready. So yeah, if you're enjoying this conversation, make sure to hit share. Tag some friends in the comments. And if you're on YouTube, make sure to log into your YouTube account so that you can join the conversation as well. So, Dr. Eddie Connor, I am wondering how has this process in your own life been like how did you come to this conclusion and writing this book? Did you have to go through a process yourself with coming to this place of faithfulness uh, in any area of your life?
Without a doubt, because I had to
Yeah.
deal with my own failures, my own father wounds, my own frustrations.
Hmm.
Especially, touched briefly on the whole aspect of me grappling with cancer.
Hmm.
My father never visited me one day in the hospital.
Hmm.
And growing up in a divorced household, the question becomes, how do you play a role if you weren't given a script? How do you become a man if you don't see one, much less interact with one?
Yeah.
And so I was always on a search. I was always on a hunt. I could always find the bad guys to hang with. You could always see the pimps, the pushers, and the players in the community, so on and so forth. And you
Hmm.
always had those examples, not the best examples, but a lot of times we emulate. We can only be what we see.
Hmm.
And so having to get a clear perspective on my identity, as well as forgive a father who didn't show up for me at death's door that I was
Hmm.
at,
Hmm.
um, I had to learn how to trust again. I had to learn how to unlearn some bad habits of masculinity and what I thought manhood was all about, which was in many cases deleterious to my destiny. And so, being around positive male
Right,
mentors.
but what did you think manhood was in that at that point in your life? What did you think it
Oh,
was?
just about the money.
Hmm.
How your notoriety. You pulling up to the scene with your ceiling missing. You being like the guys in the rap videos.
Hmm.
You being able to dominate and compete and you know dog eat dog type of world type of experience
Hmm.
of what it is,
Hmm.
versus understanding that, as Paul said in Scripture, when I was a child, I spake as a child. When I became a man, I put away childish things. Things don't just leave by osmosis. You can
Nope.
be a grown boy, and until you mature psychologically, emotionally, spiritually, you will always be a shell of yourself. And so
Hmm.
we have this whole aspect, especially as men, that it's got to be, I got to be Superman. No, we're not really Superman. We're really Clark Kent.
Hmm.
Manhood is not so much about being Black Panther. We're really T'Challa. We're not really the Hulk. We're really David Banner. It's not our
Hmm.
caricature. It's our true character.
Right.
It's not about being Superman. It's about being a faithful man. And as I've learned, as I've grown, as I've gotten better, um, I've now surrounded myself with a network of other brothers who are on that same trajectory. In the
Yes.
multitude of counselors, there is safety. Iron sharpens iron, so a man sharpeneth the countenance of his friend.
100%. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And I
It's,
think that is the key also to the development of anyone's character or anyone's trajectory is like birds of a feather flock together, right? And
facts.
so,
Yeah.
in order to continue to have that accountability, there has to be community that
Mm,
that
yeah.
continue. I know, right? I sound like you for a minute there. I think I did. I there's got to be community to push that accountability, right?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and so I heard myself there. I was like, wait. uh,
I love it. I love it. Let it come on out.
I'm just playing with you. But no, I love the fact that the introspection that you've done also, and the intentionality behind your own growth, because you're not just speaking from a, you know, we see so many of these, and of course I would never put you in that category of like these life coaches or dating coaches who um, are coaching people from broken places, coaching people from places that they're not even living in, or have the life experience of. Um, so it's nice to see and to hear that you not only have um, done the work and the process to get to this place in your personal life, but now you can actually write about it from introspective place, from a studied place, and from a place of experience and testimony, right? So,
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, I can appreciate that for sure.
Yeah.
So, in this journey of finding a who can find a faithful man, how would you say that the sisters can walk through this process of finding this type of man and staying safe,
And staying, say, last part.
staying safe, like guarding your heart,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
because
Mm-hmm.
we see a lot of women. So just to give you, we see a lot of women that are being or trying to put themselves out there, trying to find a faithful man, and in the process they're getting hurt, they're getting trampled on, they're getting used, they're getting lied to, gaslighted, uh, played around with, their time wasted. And this is just kind of like the rhetoric that you keep hearing. This is the returning theme that I've heard just over the internet, under all those shade room posts, all, you know what I mean, like there seems to be a general theme of ladies trying to find something serious and continually being gaslighted, played with, lied to. So how does a lady navigate finding a faithful man when she is at a place that she wants to, um, settle down and find someone who makes sense for the next step in their life? How does she guard her heart in that process, would you say?
Yeah,
Does
it's
that
a
make
great
sense?
question.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely a great question. I think a lot of us have ambivalence when it comes to that dating process now because of all of the ancillary things that you've mentioned. And I think it comes from the whole aspect of um, if you keep, first of all, thinking that all men are dogs or you're going to be hurt, you're
Mm-hmm.
going to attract what it is that you are continually festering your mind on. So I
Mm-hmm.
think it is about changing your focus. It also is about taking the time to heal. It's also about as well allowing yourself to go through the seasons with people. You know, a lot of people approach a date thinking about the wedding date.
Mm-hmm.
Now that was good. That was good.
Girl,
Let me say
one
that
of
again.
my husband. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Right, right. You're
yeah.
approaching the first date thinking it's a wedding date.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the aspects that we fail to think about is building a foundation on friendship. We think the friend zone is a cuss word,
Mm-hmm.
right? But in many cases, the friend zone is a good thing because now it allows me to take the time to actually look at the person. You have to know a tree by the fruit that it bears.
Mm-hmm.
So, based upon the fruit, speaks to the level of the root of what it is that people have festered in and that their upbringing is in. I think you also have to ask the tough questions. You know, what did love look like in the home for you?
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, finding out who raised you and how were you raised. You know, what are your dreams? What are your goals? Where do you see yourself in life? And being able to go through the seasons with people, like I said, we're so quick to jump the broom, but in many cases, you got to go through the seasons. Summer, is he trying to be a hot boy summer?
Mm-hmm.
The spring, is the attitude springing up? The fall, are they now they falling back? The winter, do they feel like a loser in the winter, not feel like a winner?
Mm-hmm.
Being able to look at the mood swings and the differences and how do they deal with death? How do they deal with issues that arise? How do they deal with challenges in their life?
Absolutely.
Because now that's going to tell you what it is because we always focus on biology, we always focus on chemistry, but we need to focus on suitability.
In the seasons.
Right. Just because, and the seasons, just because you're attractive doesn't mean we're compatible. You
Mm-hmm.
can be fine and still not be mine.
Love it. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we really have to do an inductive study. What do we want? And then also, does the person match up with what it is that we also desire as well? Another thing I think we need to think about as well. Sometimes your type is the reason why you're single.
Mm.
Yeah.
Say that again.
Sometimes your type is the reason why you're single.
Just wanted you to
A
repeat
lot
it for
of us
those.
are praying for more preference than purpose.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
God doesn't mean God gonna bless you with somebody ugly. He just don't want to bless you with somebody who gonna treat you ugly.
Ooh, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Dr. Connor, it's something that um, a process that I've had to go through myself, because, like you, I came from a broken home in terms of my not seeing my mother and father have the healthiest of just not a healthy relationship, and there being a split when I was very, very, very young, to the point
Mm-hmm.
where I barely even remember them ever being together in the first place. I just have memories of a lot of tension and arguing. Um, and so as I got older, I got to realize what was happening in the home, um, and um, and the split really caused a huge it did something to me that I didn't realize until I got much, much older. But I remember as a teenager, I used to always say, I used to say it to my mom all the time, I'm never going to get married. I don't want to get married.
Mm.
And so I used to say it because the example of what I saw around me just was so unhealthy and um, just not something I ever wanted to be vulnerable. I never wanted to be vulnerable. I never wanted to be at a place where I felt like a man could hurt me to the point that I saw my mother hurt.
Mm.
And so I made up in my mind at a very young age. I never dreamed of a wedding. I don't have a collage. I never had a collage book of what my wedding dress would look like. I just never. So many young ladies have had that. Like they've already
Yeah.
planned out their whole wedding from time that they were really young. I never had that because I didn't have that ambition. My ambition was always to, at some point, be a career-driven person that was going to, if eventually I had a family, it would be outside of wedlock. Because I was never
Mm.
going to lock myself in to anything with anyone that could take advantage or that would essentially hurt me. And so I carried that for a very, very long time. And it's not only when I really started to go to church and to develop a relationship with Christ that I realized what covenant was, and I realized um, what marriage should look like. And
Mm.
then my desires started to change. My perspective started to change when I understood what was expected, what I should be looking for. Now, again, with not only just my knowledge in Christ, but also through therapy. Can we say it again? Therapy, because people use that as a scary thing or something that's for crazy people or people who don't they're not mentally stable. But I had to kind of unlearn a lot of things and work through the trauma that I had experienced to come to a place of realizing that not only um, not only do I want to be married, but I also have the qualities and I have the ability to be a wife and a good wife. And
Mm.
so my desire started to change. Who I started to date changed. What I was intentional about changed. Um, and um, and yeah, and then I realized that what I really don't want is to just settle. I need to be intentional about who and because a lot of people, we always get that, especially as single people, why aren't you married yet, why aren't you married yet, what's going on? And the fact of the matter is that I just have not found, I'm not willing to, I could be married all now if I wanted to be, but I probably would have been divorced about 3 times by now.
Mm.
So it's one of those things where suitability is so important to me. Finding someone who's equally yoked, and that's a whole other conversation, not just on a religious perspective, but where are we going in life? Do we have the same vision? Are we going in the same direction?
Mm.
And so all those things have become important. And I've only learned that through my own healing. So that's my little
So
testimony, which leads to a question that I saw in the audience here. Dr. Connor, did your past trauma play a role in your educational pursuit? From Ashley Nicole Cook.
yeah, at first I gotta say, listen, that was courageous what you even said. You stepped out of the lifeboat, you know what I'm saying, and really took a courageous walk with just sharing about your past and how you've healed from that, and not allowing that to be a stain on your life, and
Mhm.
being stigmatized or shamed for it, because we all deal with things, and you're able to differentiate baggage from garbage,
Mhm.
and the right person who actually has the grace to be able to love you through what you've been through. So I think that's important. So I commend you on that. The question: did my past play a role in my educational pursuit? Past trauma. Uh, it may have been a factor in ambition for me, because I was always looked at as the least likely. I was not the guy who was going, most likely to be successful, this, that, and the other. In many cases, I've always been the underdog. And so I
Mhm.
think that fueled me. Most people didn't think I was going to make it through cancer, much less myself. So
Mhm.
I had very, very few people who believed in me in life. So I think all of that, and you feel like the man who looks like you the most cares for you the least, and that being my biological father. So I
Mhm.
think all that really became a fuel for me to say I'm going to prove all the skeptics wrong.
Mhm.
I started to compete with myself, um, and say, listen, I'm going to prove all the skeptics wrong, and just do what most people don't think I could ever accomplish.
Right.
And really the greatest accomplishment was living. But you know, all of that I think becomes fuel for you to turn trauma into triumph.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I think that might have played a role. Now that I, take a little time to meditate on it, and think about it a little bit.
Look at that. Revelation on the lifeboat.
There it is, revelation for my situation.
Ashley says some of us are just now getting to the point where we can dream of those things. Yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
she says thank you for sharing. Yes, thank you for sharing that moment, and having that aha moment here, right here with us.
Hmm.
Listen, I don't know what I don't know. I just feel like I love the generation that we're in terms of the fact that we are destigmatizing little by little um, what it means to deal with our mental health, right, and healing and from trauma.
Hmm.
Our parents' generation and our grandparents' generation did not have that opportunity, um, and especially within the African diaspora, there is a huge need for mental health healing, for mental health services, for uh, for for dealing with trauma, not only just on the social aspect, but in the interpersonal
Hmm.
and just our parents and our grandparents were just in survival mode, and now we have the opportunity in this time to really talk about these things and to destigmatize what it really means to be healthy mentally, because we don't ever have an issue when someone tells us a diagnosis of diabetes or high blood pressure, and that they need to see a doctor for it and be monitored for it and even take medication for it. But somehow we get snobby and self conscious and weirded out by having to deal with our mental health and go seek help for that, and even maybe take medication to help us get through it at times. And so I'm so glad for conversations like this. I'm glad for you and this book that are really going to hold us even more accountable and bring us back to a place of wholeness. So thank you so much for being on here tonight. I know this is your third interview for the day, so thank you so much for just joining me and and coming on here tonight to share. So, can you tell all of us one more time? I know you have a conference coming up as well to access identity in August. You also have your book that's right now in pre-sale. But before we go off and sign off tonight, if you have any closing words, and then go ahead and tell us about your initiatives as well.
Oh, listen, true high commendation to you for just this really courageous conversation and how you curated, with consistency and frequency. And so to be able to talk about millennial matters, things that our parents may have swept under the rug, and now we're exposing it, and we're speaking life into our lives, and really
Mhm.
mediating the issues of it. It's so needed and necessary. And I think we all heal a little bit more when people like yourself are able to put us in the process of having tough conversations. And so definitely salute to you on that in your journey and how you're allowing other people and allowing other people to heal. So I would just say tonight, I think you really have to understand how much of a gift that you are. May was Mental Health Awareness Month. It's interesting about June. June is National Migraine and Headache Awareness Month. And I think it really speaks to the whole aspect of notice how the mind is in play in both arenas with both months. I think we have to get to the place to where we're letting go and we're relinquishing and releasing the things in our life that become headaches to us,
Mhm.
whether it's people, places, or things, the nouns that we're around, so that we can really discover the gift and the jewel that's on the inside of us. And I really believe that somebody is waiting for you to become who you are so they can become who they're supposed to be. Here's the question: how long will you make them wait?
Mhm.
And I think as we're at the halftime, not because it's the finals game between Denver and Miami, but simply because we're the halftime of the year, that we need to really check ourselves before we wreck ourselves and see, are we making the progress? What is
Mhm.
stunning our growth? Who is stunning our growth? What changes can we make? How can we challenge ourselves to be the champion that God is calling us to be? And sometimes the reason you face giants in your life is simply because it's reminding you that there's a giant inside of you.
Mhm.
Greater is he that's within you than he that's in the world. And so I encourage you to dig deep within the resource of your soul and discover the greatness that you have. And don't hold it back, but allow your light to shine bright, because somebody in this world is waiting for you to be who you are. With that being said, I want you to definitely, of course, get the book. Who Can Find a Faithful Man? It's on pre-order right now. You don't have to wait till June 15th, the release date. You can go ahead and get it right now. It's a riveting read. I know you're going to love it from cover to cover, not just for our men, but also for our sisters who love us. And
Right.
then, of course, go to accessidentity.org. We have an amazing conference that is just ripe and ready for you on Saturday, August the 5th in the city of Detroit. Um, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Saturday, August the 5th. It's called the Access Identity Conference: Ideas, Impact, Influence, Connecting Kingdom and Community Merging Ministry in the Marketplace, giving you the insight, the tools, the strategies, the structure on how to access your true identity. And we got amazing speakers who are coming, and it's going to just level up your whole life. Listen, I'm doing a discount simply because y'all with absolutely Arian tonight, and I'm kicking it with her. Go right now to accessidentity.org, and at checkout, I'm going to bless you, put in the code ACCESS, and you can get $50 off. As a VIP registrant, only got 34 seats left. General registration, or if you can't make it and you want to stream live, I got the hook up on that too.
Wonderful.
So there's no reason why you can't be a part of it. We're not taking no for an answer. Why don't you go ahead and be a part of it? Accessidentity.org. So thank you again for the opportunity to share.
Awesome. It was lovely having you. I was blessed by this conversation tonight.
Likewise.
So thank you for who you are and what you do. You truly are a blessing. You truly are. Uh, I love um, I just love your humility, um, and I love the way that you carry yourself. So thank you for just being you.
I
Um,
appreciate that. That means a lot. Thank you.
so yes, so I'm gonna go ahead and put you backstage, and I'll meet you there in a moment.
All right.
So guys, make sure that you register for the conference and use that code, right? Access, get a little discount right here. You heard it live tonight. All right, see you later. All right, guys. So thank you for watching tonight. It's been a fantastic conversation. If you missed the beginning, make sure that you go ahead and watch the replay. And if you are watching on the replay, listen, feel free to still drop some comments. I always come back and check and engage with those as well. So thank you again. Next week, we will be back again Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time with another episode of the Lifeboat Live with another life lesson. So make sure that you not only meet me there, but beat me there. All right.